happens to be Asian, or if that person happens to be black or Hispanic or purple or whatever, or white, then that's the person for you. So like, for me...
But that goes against what you just said when you said that you would probably go, if something happened to us, you'd probably go for another black guy.
Well, because that's what I like.
But isn't that the same thing? Like, if someone says, like, hey, so there's probably going to be a part two. So that's why you should stay tuned. That's why it's great for us to actually do videos together, because we always do this through our relationship. We challenge each other all the time. And we talk about, like, but you just said such and such, so explain yourself. So she just said earlier that she would go for another black dude. Now she's saying that if someone's hell-bent on it, why? So stay tuned for it. I forgot what topic we were even going to talk about.
How to find your Blasian love, or how our Blasian family came to be.
Okay, all right. So that's kind of what it's going to be about. So anyhow, this video is going to be about how we became who we are, HershNoeie, and how we've actually made our relationship work. So here you go. All right. One of the topics that we really and truly get a lot about, or that I've gotten, is how do you get a Korean spouse or an Asian spouse or anything like that. To give you a background story for me, I was previously married before to someone who was from Hong Kong, and then that relationship was just bad. And then I got divorced, dated different people in between there, and then found Noelle, who is Korean born but raised in the U.S. since she was a baby. And so that's kind of just the quick part of it. She was married before too, and it was to a white guy. That didn't work out either, obviously, so that's how we actually, she dated a little bit too prior to that, and then,
I think, so for me, yes, I was married to a white guy before, and after my divorce and after that ended and everything, I kind of made a vow to myself that I would date anybody as long as they weren't white. And not that I'm racist, it's just I really missed out on having somebody to be able to have shared and common experiences. And I think I talked about this a little bit in my family video, but like the one thing that like I will never be able to completely know what it's like to be a black man living in America. But he also doesn't know what it's like to be an Asian woman living in America. And then I have different layers of complexity in my identity in my life as an adoptee. But I just missed out. I felt like that was something that I really needed. So I was like, I'm open to dating anybody. So I went on a date with an Indian guy. I went on a date with a Chinese guy. I dated for a short time another black guy before I met Herschel, and then I met Herschel. And so for me, it was kind of like I kind of zeroed in on, okay, I like black guys. It was always something for me that I always liked as a kid. Not like I like black guys, but like TV shows and actors and stuff. I was always drawn to Denzel Washington, and I know a lot of people are, but I was like, oh my gosh, and like.
And now her new thing is Shamar Moore a little bit, so she likes him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then she likes Idris Elba.
Yeah.
And she likes Boris Kojo.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't know who those people are, Google them, and that's who she. But then she settled with me, so I don't know.
I love him too.
For me, yeah. it was not, I don't really care. I've dated the entire rainbow, when it comes to that, it's United Nations. So I've dated Asian women, and from there I'm talking pretty much almost every country. I've dated women from the Middle East. I've dated black women. I've dated white women, even some that's from Europe. So I've, Hispanic, absolutely. So for me, it was never really one particular type of person that I was looking for. I was looking for someone who I can have a lot of commonality with. And also I think to touch on that, with marriage, I was very, very picky with that because I wanted to make sure that I had someone that I can really relate to on many different levels. So I wanted someone, because I went to college, that went to college as well and graduated. I wanted someone who has the same kind of political thoughts that I do. I wanted someone who had the same view as far as raising children and that type of thing. And also the struggle, in living in the U.S., as a minority, because that's something that we can talk about. Yeah, we're not the exact same, but we can talk about those types of things. So that's what I wanted in terms of, for me, because I think that you can kind of, when it comes to marriage, you want to make sure that you have the easiest path possible, because marriage is difficult as it is. You're trying to adjust to a person. I think it's probably maybe a little bit easier to raise a child than it is to get married and stay married. My mother even told me that, So, that was always what I wanted to do. However, I do have preferences. And one of the things that I have a preference for is black hair. Anybody with black hair, it works for me. Have to have at least, a personality, because believe it or not, there's a lot of people that don't really have a personality. That's something that really doesn't, I can't work with that.
Check, double check.
Someone that's fun and that can, take life, with her, everything is interesting. Like I remember a story. This is a tangent. Now I know I said that she goes off on tangents, and I apologize for me going off on tangents, because the last 2 videos we've done together, there's been tangents caused.
Runaway train right here.
Okay, but this made me think of something. We were driving to Chicago. If any of you have ever driven in Chicago, the interstate traffic is horrible. It doesn't matter if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. Traffic is always bad in Chicago on the interstate. It's always congested. So I'm driving. There's cars zipping and zapping every place. And there's people that got into a wreck on one side of me because this car was trying to go up the shoulder and this truck tried to cut them off. So then they're like fighting, just yelling at each other. And meanwhile, she's like, oh, look, there's a rainbow. Look at the rainbow. Look at the rainbow. And I'm thinking, dude, I'm trying to focus on driving. And even though that's a serious situation, people over here fighting and ready to get out and really go at it. And there's cars zipping everywhere. And, down I-65 in Chicago, you see the subway train running. So all of this stuff is going on. Airplanes flying overhead. And none of that matters. She's focusing on a rainbow. But that's what I love about it. So for me, someone has to have those things. And also skin complexion. You have to have some sort of skin complexion. I like, I don't know what you would call it.
Beautiful.
Well, yeah. Asian skin tone to black. That's the range that I, definitely have a preference for. With her, she has more of a preference for black guys. We talked about this the other day. I said, what if something happened to us? Like, what would she do? First, she told me that, she would never find anybody else as good as me, which is true. But her preference has always been, or I guess she just discovered it's black. And so some people will ask the question, because I don't think there's anything wrong with preferences. Everyone has a preference. Some people prefer tall people, short people. That was another thing. I dated people that were tall. I'm about 6 foot. I dated a chick that was 6'3". And that is and she was a volleyball player. So it's I'm a tall dude, but that girl could never wear heels around me because she would tower well above me. So, and she was the one from Europe. She was from Ukraine. I needed
a big guy. Not like a big guy, but a big guy.
Yeah.
There was a Chinese guy that I dated, and he was I want to say he was my height. I think he was probably maybe a little bit tall. I'm 5'3", okay? So not that tall. and it was like we saw eye to eye, and I'm not talking about like on political issues. It was just very awkward, and I'm like, no. So I needed like a big dude.
But you got to keep in mind too, because here it's completely different. Like here in Indianapolis, there's a very, very small Asian population to begin with. Now that's changed a little bit because when we went back, it was like, wow, there's a lot of Asian people here now. But it's not like it is here in Seattle where there's a huge population.
If we can play the princess game, she said yes.
Okay.
Cool, go for it.
Go ahead.
Go for it. So here, there's a huge Asian population, so you have different types of people here, and some of the guys are tall as I am or even taller. But back in Indianapolis, if that's all you know, which that's really kind of all that she knew, she didn't see any that were really tall. So for her, height was important because even her ex wasn't that tall. So, she wanted someone that was really, really tall.
To make me feel safe. Like, I mean, I know it sounds cliche, and like, I'm certainly not a damsel in distress kind of chick, but there's something about like being
Sometimes.
like, no, I'm not.
If there's a spider or something like that.
Well, yeah, I just tell you take care of it.
Or if it's what's it called, a centipede?
Oh gosh, that's a whole nother story. Oh my god. No, but like just somebody to like be able to like wrap myself into, and I can wrap myself into this.
So anyhow, we're way off topic, and we're 10 minutes in, and we just kind of covered a little tiny piece. We scratched.
But
the
yes,
surface.
you started to talk about that I have a preference, and so yes, if something were to happen, if we were to not work out, which I don't think we would ever not work out, I would probably go for another black guy, especially one being that my kids are half black. So, I just would, it would definitely be a person of color, but more than likely a black dude.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing is, too, a lot of people say, and the question is, that I get mostly from black men, is like, how do I find an Asian woman, or what are some tips, or what are some things that you can kind of tell me about in terms of doing this? And really, there's not this clear-cut recipe. There's not this magic thing that you can do. The only thing I can tell you to do is to be yourself, be open. But the biggest thing is that you have to understand that if you're not in a location where there's a lot of Asian people, the chances are going to be a lot slimmer. That's Zara trying to wave. So your chances are going to be a lot more difficult. I was able to do it in Indianapolis. But again, there's kind of a small Asian population there. Here, it's a lot more prevalent. Just today, we went to Target, and in the parking lot, or actually in the parking garage, we saw another Blasian couple, So where you have he was black, and I don't know, she was Asian, but I'm not sure exactly what. So that's just another example. One of the couples that we know is also a Blasian couple, and so there's quite a few. I know another family where she's Japanese and he's black. So here in Seattle, it's pretty prevalent that you will see a Blasian couple. So if you're in a place like, for example, I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky, for example. The chances of finding someone who's Asian who's going to date a black guy is pretty low. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's pretty low. So I think being yourself, being in a location where there's a lot of Asian people is going to help you. Being in places where you're going to actually find Asian people, here, for example, where we live is pretty diverse. As you can see with Zoe's ballet, there's people from everywhere. So we have people from Spain. In this building, we have many people from different parts of Africa, different parts of Asia. One of the guys I worked with was from Vietnam. So there's so many different people here that exist. So if you have a community that's really vibrant, that has a lot of different culture in it, then more than likely you're going to be able to find the person that you're looking for. Now, one of the things I would also suggest too, because I've been asked this, and on ABC, which is Asian and Black Couples, they ask when we said that Noelle and I, we met with a dating service. It actually wasn't a dating service. I mean, it was an online dating thing or whatever. So anyway, they asked if we preferred one over the other. Well, let me first tell you. We first started off, or I started off with Match.com. And it was okay. I felt like Match.com really was not as effective. I was on eHarmony, and literally, I kind of paid attention and kind of not paid attention to eHarmony. I was kind of, going through, and every now and again, if there was a date, I would go on them, that type of thing. And I was literally on my last week before my subscription expired. Okay, so at that point in time, I had been on a couple of different dates and that type of thing. And I had been on dates even with Asian women as well. Black women, white women, Asian women, Hispanic women. So, again, the whole rainbow. And nothing really kind of panned out. I didn't find that person that was exactly what I was looking for. With eHarmony, it matches you down to to really, it pinpoints you to a person that's almost like yourself. It's almost like a carbon copy. So then I got a message from Noelle, and they do the little icebreakers, and they kind of tell you about themselves and that type of thing. So we went on a date, and it just worked out. But again, our answers, the answers that she put, the answers that I put to the questions, and all of those types of things kind of worked out. So it could be a situation that you just have to try one of these online dating services. So if you really and truly are interested in dating someone who is Asian, black, whatever the case may be, and it just doesn't seem like it's really happening, you may have to actually go through with some of these dating services like eHarmony and things like that. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times it puts you where there's like-minded people. And even if you're aiming for someone who's of a particular race or whatever, particular religion, they may find you with someone, and you may go on a date with this person and end up being with someone who's opposite of what you're looking for, but they suit you so well. So you can never really limit yourself. Noelle had to handle the kids. And some people don't like that whole idea of, well, if you only date certain people or certain races, or you only go for this, and why are you looking just for that? I mean, some people have their reasons for it. Some people may have been to an Asian country, or they may have been to a Latin American country, or they may have been to an African country, or whatever, and that's what they like and that's what they know. Or it could be a situation where they just really want to try something different. Maybe it's not working with the people that they've been choosing, and they want to branch out. And maybe, with these online dating services, it's the way to do it. For me, it got to the point of where I could only meet people that I worked with, and that wasn't going to work because I was a boss there. Or it was when I was going out. And that didn't really work too well either, because you have other people who like to party. And so I was looking for someone who I could eventually marry, and someone that I could take home to my mother. And that
your wife.
Yeah, to my wife. I wanted someone who I can take home to my mother. And again, I've only taken 2 people home to see my mother, ever. And that's been the 2 people that I had married. So that's it for me. She's been gone this whole time, really. So I don't know about her story, what she wants to add, but you don't have much time.
I mean, for me, like, people comment on our videos and stuff about, like, oh, it's mostly guys, like, oh, how do I find my Asian wife, and how do I find that? And, like, I think your approach has to be, how do you find the right person for you? And I don't know if you've talked about this.
No,
I don't know what you talked about. But, like,
I don't know what I talked about yet.
It's not so much, like, honing in on, like, because that makes me question, like, what are your intentions? Like, why are you so hell-bent on finding this type of person? Like, why not just go out and seek the right person for you? And then if that person happens to be Asian, or if that person happens to be black or Hispanic or purple or whatever, or white, then that's the person for you. So, like, for me...
But that goes against what you just said when you said that you would probably go, if something happened to us, you would probably go for another black guy.
Well, because that's what I like.
But isn't that the same thing? Like, if someone says, like, hey, So there's probably going to be a part 2. So that's why you should stay tuned. That's why it's great for us to actually do videos together, because we always do this through our relationship. We challenge each other all the time. And we talk about, like, but you just said such and such, so explain yourself. So she just said earlier that she would go for another black dude. Now she's saying that if someone's hell-bent on it, why? So stay tuned to part 2. All right, so this is part 2. I'm sorry. I had to adjust the camera, and we're using a different camera now. Because for one, you were like seeing all up my nose. And for two, we're in the girls' room, so they have their little star and sun on. So it's just kind of bright. And Noelle was like kneeling on her knees and all that stuff. So anyway, so now she's got a chair. We got the lights turned off. And now you're no longer looking up my nose. So she was getting to the part of where she had to explain herself, because she just said that it's weird if a person goes only for one targeted group or person or something like that. But she also said that if something were to happen to us, that she'd probably go for another black guy. So I'm confused.
So I'm not saying that this is any of our subscribers, but out there in, I guess, the Blasian world, you know, there's Facebook groups, there's whatever. I mean, let's be real. Like, there's jungle fever and there's yellow fever. Like, they exist. And so for me, like, being an Asian woman, like, I have to be cautious, or not now, but I've had to be cautious about, like, what are your intentions? Like, why me? And why not somebody else? And so, like, is it because I'm Asian? Like, are you trying to get, like, your bingo card filled? Like, or do you really like me because I'm just super awesome? Because I am.
I don't know if I'm looking. Am I supposed to look here or here? I don't know if I'm. So again, I apologize, folks. If I'm not looking directly at you and I'm like staring off, because I can't.
I've got reflections on my glasses, but anyway, I can't see if I don't have them on. So, you interrupted me.
My bad. I couldn't tell where to look, because I'm like, I don't know.
So, you know, it's like questioning why you're looking for a specific type of person. And so, like, yes, I do have a preference. I like black guys. Does that mean that I want to date every single black guy, or that every single black guy is the right black guy for me? No. Does that mean that I couldn't find somebody who's not black that would be cool? No, that doesn't mean that. Or, I don't know.
Yes, it would mean that.
Yes. Okay.
No, what she's saying is that just because her preference is black men doesn't mean that every black guy fits that category. But also, it also doesn't exclude anyone else necessarily either.
Right.
But her main preference, what her eye is typically drawn to, would be black men. And I can kind of say similar for myself. You know, for me, I mean, you know, as long as it's a woman and she's nice, then I'm going to look in that direction. However, I will notice probably someone, again, with black hair, especially if they're Asian, before I would anybody else. But again, same thing. Not everyone fits that same category. So just because a person happens to be Asian doesn't mean that it's going to be right for me. Obviously, I mean, there's a track record here of, you know, that didn't work out before. But anyhow, that's kind of the situation in terms of how I think, and I guess that's what she was saying too. Wow, Zara's giving the stink face.
Getting some evil eyes. So that's what I was saying, and like, I question the people that are like, I have to find an Asian wife, or if it's an Asian, like, I have to find a black guy. Like, why? Like, why are you so intensely focused on that? Like, you should focus more on what the qualities of a person are, and then, like, see what you find. And then if what, baby?
Where did we get these?
We got those from the shower. Okay. Mama's busy doing a video. This is why it's hard to do joint videos, but
one of us has to wrangle the kids while the other one does the video.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're looking for your person, like, look for your person, and you can kind of target your search in certain populations. But like Herschel was saying, that if you're in a place where there's not a lot of people of that kind or variety that you're looking for, like, you gotta kind of go where they are. Or like we were lucky, and eHarmony helped us out. So
and I might add that on eHarmony, she was the one that pulled the trigger on me.
yeah, I sent him one of those cheesy little things like, hey,
Because I had like a week left.
I like
I
your
was telling
smile.
them
I
about
did
this.
too.
I had like a week left, and I was like, okay, this is, it's been cool and all, but like, on to the next thing in life, because at that point, I was literally trying to just focus solely on building a career and getting a house and all that stuff, which I'd already gotten my first house and focused on that. And so I wasn't really worried so much about that. I was just thinking about just building up a career and then later on jumping back into the dating scene. So when I got a little message from her, I'm thinking, okay, cool, I'll entertain any sort of date just to kind of see what it's about. If anything, it's kind of like a job interview, really, because the more dates you go on, just like the more job interviews you have, the more experience you get, and you know what you like and what you don't like. One thing that I wanted to make sure of was that, and I think this is also where people can kind of make a mistake, is that you want to be aware of what I call fool's gold, right? A friend of mine gave that term of fool's gold. It looks really good, but then it really is not. It's really not what you think it is. So there was a lot of that I found mainly in the clubs when I was, out being, playboy. I found a lot of fool's gold where it looked really good. They looked great, but the quality of the person, the personality, that type of thing just wasn't really there. There's some people that she kind of knows that I dated, and she thought they were amazing. Hold on.
Okay, so I had to take a pause to help the kids.
Yeah.
So I don't, I lost my train of thought, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, so I had started out on Match.com because, so I was in my mid to late 20s at the time after my divorce and stuff, and I gave myself about a year before I went on any dates or anything. And when I was ready to like start dating again, I was out of school. Oh, I was in grad school, but it was mostly with women. And there really wasn't anybody at work for me to like connect with or anything. I had a coworker that wanted to set me up with a 45-year-old guy who had like a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I'm like, no. So those were my prospects, and so I'm like, and I wasn't too keen on like going out to the bars and like trying to pick somebody up that way. Like that wasn't my thing. Like I like to go out, but not to like try to get picked up. So I was like, okay, I'll try Match. I didn't like Match because people control Match. And not like control, but can troll, like, I don't know, like, because with Match, you were able to like put whatever parameters in of like, oh, I'm searching for this, and I'm searching for this, and I'm searching for this, and so anybody and their brother can message you. And I just didn't like that. I was getting people who couldn't write in complete sentences and who had terrible grammar, and I'm like, okay, for me that was a huge like no. And just a lot of like riffraff kind of whatever creepers, right? So I didn't really like that. So I did meet one guy. So the black guy that I dated before Herschel, I did meet him via Match, but then it turned out that like I was just kind of a novelty. Like he had never dated an Asian woman before, so it was like I was filling a bingo slot.
I never heard that term before.
I just made it up.
Oh.
Because at work we play like human bingo to like get to know people. So anyway, you heard it here, folks. Bingo slots. And so I was like, I wasn't too keen on Match.com. So then eHarmony had a trial period for like 3 months or something like that, or a month, I don't know. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I spent like 15 hours filling out their profile. It's a long, lengthy profile. But it was nice because it was like, it made you think about all these different things and like where you rank the importance and all of that. And so what was nice with that is that it would send you, I think it was like 7 matches at a time, and so you could only communicate with those 7 people, and only those 7 people could communicate with you. And just because you were matched doesn't mean that like you had to reach out to everyone. So like you could read them and then you could say like yay or nay, and if you said nay, then it would like go through his database and then send you new ones. So it wasn't like you could just go in and say, I'm looking for 26-year-old female in the Indianapolis area. Like, you couldn't do that.
Right.
And I liked that. And so then it was like much more like, oh, we're tailored. So you could read their profiles, they could read yours, and then you could choose to initiate conversation if you wanted to. So,
and the there's a couple of different things I should say. I think the conversations were like canned responses. I don't think early on when you connect with someone, I don't think you could type whatever you wanted to. It was basically they gave you some drop downs, which are silly, but they gave you drop downs of what you can send to a person. What I really liked, and this is not promoting any sort of site because, go with what you want. But for me, the reason why I got rid of Match and I was done with that, because I did the whole trial thing too, and then with eHarmony I did the whole trial thing. But what I liked about eHarmony was different from Plenty of Fish and Match and all those others, is the fact that if someone takes the time to fill out all of the stuff in eHarmony, then they must be serious. Because I had a lot of people that were not really serious. I think I did a video, or maybe it's not up, but about the people who were trying to just do a come up. With her, she had the issue of guys that, just want to, a little play around. There's women that also wanted to, go on, they're serial daters. They just constantly date. They may date like 5 guys in like one day.
Cornflakes or Cheerios?
Yeah, it's like they would date someone. Yeah, it was like they.
Maybe Fruit Loops.
Yeah, there was a few of those. So, but they would just date. They never really had to pay for dinner ever because they had someone that took them out. So you have to be careful, and I think that was the reason why she went with eHarmony and why I went with it too at the end, because for one, it kind of cut out a lot of the crazy. It cut out a lot of the stuff that was going to waste your time and waste your energy. And especially, she was really busy at the time. I was busy at the time. So we didn't have a whole lot of time to spend to really focus on trying to find a person and cut through all the crazy stuff. So I felt more confident with eHarmony. Then, of course, it started to, I get to see the people who were there, suggestions. And then when she talked to me, and this is funny, I think I mentioned this to you once. I had 2 people who were Asian that contacted me at the same time. One was this one chick who I can kind of see her face, but kind of not. Because I think with eHarmony, could you see all of the photos or no?
I don't remember.
At one point, I think that you had to get to know the person for a bit before you could see all the photos.
All your photos were far away, so I was like, what's he hiding?
It's not true. It's not true. Noelle wanted a photo like this.
Not your boards, dude.
So she wanted a photo like that. And there's a photo with me kind of on a rock, which shows, because, women they like to complain about it. Like, oh, well, you just don't show your body. Are you fat? Are you skinny? Are you muscular? What are you? So I try to show one that shows like, the full body. I try to show one that shows like kind of close up, but I'm just not all up like you see in everything, So I try to do everything, but she didn't like that. She wanted one where it just had, like this, like what you're seeing right now. Yeah, that's what she wanted.
Like a headshot.
Okay, but you can't see the rest of the person. Like, all of them are headshots.
But I had a variety of pictures. I had some, like, up close. I had some, like, I was posing with a bear.
I don't remember.
Yeah. And other, like, I had a variety to, like, show me. So through my pictures, you could see, like, what kind of person I was.
Anyway, I thought the photos were great that I put up. But anyhow.
Very far away.
No, they weren't. If I can find the photos, I'll show you guys. They were not far away. They were perfect. But anyhow, it just really and truly, it helped us figure out what we wanted. She had to deal with the whole fetishizing thing, but it also works on this end as well. There's a lot of people that wanted to, they wanted to be with the black guy, not for any other reason than because of the kids, Not for any other reason other than to say, hey, I've tried that. We were just not having that. So I guess, to cut out all the tangents and things like that and to answer your questions that you've had in terms of how to find that perfect person, A, be very open to it. B, make sure that if you do have a preference, which is totally, totally fine, make sure that you be yourself with that person and be in a location where those types of people are going to be. So if you're the type of person that likes writers, for example, then you want to go to, I don't know, where writers hang out at.
Coffee shops.
Coffee shops. If you like, athletes or whatever, you're going to go to, I don't know, the gym or something. So you go to the places where you're going to find the people that you're really looking for. Or you would have to try some sort of dating app type thingamajig. So that's pretty much all I have. You have anything else you want to add to it? She's fixing the
Sorry,
doll.
this is what I've been having to do.
Zara takes the clothes off of the dolls. I don't know why. And then she wants us to put the clothes back on, and then she'll take them right back off again. So
anything else to add? I think, so anyway, finding, if you're wanting to find a Blasian relationship, like knowing your intentions, knowing what you're looking for, like if you're seeking it because you think that Asian women are docile or that we are, sex fiends or sexy or will give you happy endings or whatever any of the typical stereotypical crap is. Sorry if I'm offending, but
I can tell you right now, this one right here, she's definitely not docile.
No, I am not submissive. I am not docile. I will not hold my tongue.
No.
That's not who I am. And that's not who most Asian women are not like that.
And it's not just the ones that are born here and raised here or, came here very young and raised here. Even with the people I've dated that were born in Asia, most women, once you actually get to know them and they get comfortable with you and that type of thing, most women will be themselves, and that is stand up for themselves. Unless you find someone that doesn't care about themselves, that's a totally different thing. But most people want to be respected, right? So if you have this, stereotypes are just crap. There's stereotypes that everyone has, right? Most of the time, those stereotypes are not true. Anyone can fit any of those stereotypes. But to say or think that Asian women are going to fit certain types, like take for instance, there's a guy I know, he wants, to date Asian women because he thinks that they're going to be skinny and they're going to always keep their figure and this, that, and the other. That's not always going to be the case. And looks fade over time. But the personality of the person is going to be forever. Mm-hmm. So you have to really think about that. And it goes back to that whole fool's gold thing, you can't just go for someone who looks amazing to you. Because trust me, I did that back in the day. I would just go for the, just insanely hot people. But then when it comes down to it, their personality just wasn't really there. It's kind of like someone who's super spoiled, No offense against people who are beautiful, but I'm just saying that I think we're beautiful. But I'm just saying, when you have someone that's super, 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 super hot, a lot of times
been told all their life that
they've been told that or whatever. And I've even dated people who are models. They get told that constantly. Well, if that's all you have to do is just kind of show up someplace and people give you free stuff. I dated people where, heck, never got a ticket. Never had to really ask for something. If they were short on gas money, they can go to the station. It wasn't a problem. And say, look, I don't have all the money for gas, but is that okay? Sure. That's what I'm talking about, right? So you want to make sure that you get with someone who is going to be your equal I found someone who's my equal. We just kind of, I guess lucked into it. eHarmony was really, really good because we found someone who, like I said, is almost identical. We're identical in a lot of ways. But after that, it's up to you. So you have to be yourself. You have to be genuine. And you'll find the person that you're looking for.
And go for it. Go into it for the right reasons.
Right.
I mean, that's my plea to you all. And I know that there's this is like going down another road, but if you watch,
Tangent. Go ahead.
I mean, if you watch adult videos, and
this wasn't the type of tangent that I was thinking about.
But I mean, if you watch adult videos and you have in your mind oh, that's what I'm gonna get, that's the wrong reason. Okay, bruh, okay, sister, whoever you are, wrong reason. What? I'm just saying, these are my personal thoughts. Go into them for the right reason. If it's a preference that you have, great. But go into it to try to find the right person for you. That's what it's all about. And he was totally not expecting that from me. But anyway, I just because it's very prevalent, the yellow fever. But then there's also anyway. But there are women who are all about dating black guys for whatever reason too, or wanting to get with a black guy but not necessarily wanting to be in a relationship with one because of what they hear about. So it's just all of those things. Those are all the wrong reasons to try to enter into a relationship with somebody. So if you're trying to find your true love, find the qualities that you're looking for and seek that out.
I can't stop.
So,
I can't stop.
Anyway, I think that's it for now.
You never really know what you're going to get from Noelle.
What?
I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought she was going to talk about something else, but then she brought out porn.
I said adult videos.
Anyhow, same thing. Anyhow, that's all that we have. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe and like and all that other stuff. And until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm going to see you. Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.